It's a really hard truth to realize that not every church is actually safe. Oh boy. In my own personal experience, I've had both really great hits and really great misses. The sad thing that I've come to realize is that it actually takes a super long time sometimes to notice, because oftentimes the red flags, they're disguised by a sense of community. The kinds of things that we desire, that we hunger for. We want community. We want a spiritually rich church community. And those things, that desire can actually blind us sometimes, or at least cover up or obscure things that we need to know, dangerous things that we need to have in mind if we're to avoid these kinds of people in these kinds of churches. In this video, I want to show you one red flag that I think is a very serious one, and it's one that a lot of people, including myself, have fallen for, and maybe you continue to fall for this one. My name is Nick. Welcome to my channel. This red flag is very simple. The pastor of the church has no accountability whatsoever. And if they do have accountability, it's very minimal. I come from Protestant/evangelical type of churches. I still am in a Protestant style church. I'm a part of the Anglican Church, which is it's both Catholic and Protestant. I'm not going to explain what that is right now. That's a different video. But one of the defining features of this branch of Christianity as compared to the Catholic branch is we don't have a pope. We don't have one person who is considered to be the highest authority of the church. We do not have a bishop of Rome. Now, as Anglicans, we don't dishonor or disrespect the Pope. We just recognize him as one bishop of many. I think don't quote me on that, but I think that's how it works. Now, what I've noticed about these kinds of churches that I'm talking about, the ones where you have a pastor who has absolutely no accountability, they've made themselves to be their own pope, which is kind of wild to me, because usually these are the kinds of people who say, I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to be told, I don't believe in a pope. And then guess what? They may as well put on the hat, that big, tall wizard hat. It's called a mitre. One of the things that we're told in scripture is that you will know them by their fruit. And one of the big fruits that you see in churches like this with a pastor like that is the congregation and the staff are afraid of speaking their mind because they don't want to offend the big boss. And this is a really damaging environment to find yourself in, especially when most people who go to church, they're looking for a community, they're looking for a spiritual family. And instead, what they find is a dysfunctional family with a tyrant at the top. I've been to a few different churches that have this problem. The last church that I attended while I was still kind of in that charismatic branch of Christianity, the pastor fancied himself to be a prophet and a modern day apostle. Literally an apostle. And for a time, I was the youth pastor/leader at this church. Now, I was fortunate enough in this experience to have not really gotten the brunt of it. But I have family members who did, friends that did. I know so many people who came in just like me, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, we love what the Lord is doing here, only to find out the church was being led by a friggin' narcissist. And the sad thing for so many of these people, including myself, we came away from that experience with a very big mistrust of authority, which is not a good thing. Now, we shouldn't worship authority, but I think authority structures are in place for our good. The Bible talks a whole lot about that. So people like me who come out of experiences like that, we're damaged in a sense. There's a little bit of trauma, if I'm being honest, that comes with that kind of experience. And it's so sad to me that this is the case. Because church is supposed to be, among other things, a place of healing, a place of genuine spiritual healing. And instead, people walk into these kinds of churches, smacked in the face metaphorically speaking. So what I have learned from those experiences, there are good things to learn, and I'm hoping that maybe somebody out there is going to watch this video and not make the same mistakes that I did. Because believe me, if you can go without that kind of pain, that kind of trauma, that kind of stress, then you are way better off. So what can we do? What can we do about this? What can we do if we find ourselves in a church that is like this? Romans 16:17 has this to say: I urge you, brothers and sisters, to watch out for those who cause divisions and put obstacles in your way that are contrary to the teaching that you have learned. Keep away from them. Historically, the church has used this passage of scripture in order to combat terrible teachers, corrupt teachers, teachers who are only in the church to scratch their own asses, to make themselves feel great, like a peacock. For me, the instruction is clear. Avoid them. And this could be a painful experience if you're already in a church, and let's say you've been there for years, you have people that you consider to be your friends and your family, spiritual family. This can be a very painful experience, but guess what? That pain is not going to go away if you just pretend that there isn't a problem. The pain will just simply compound as time goes on, and then eventually you step out of line and you're going to get your ass kicked. And I don't want that for you. I certainly didn't want that for me, but guess what? That's what happened to me, and I hope that what I have to say about this actually does help somebody, because it really is a painful experience. It's brutal. It frickin' sucks. But in the end, really what it is, think about it like some sort of a medical procedure where you have someone who has a wound, an open wound, and they have rotting tissue or flesh around that wound. Well, that needs to be removed in order for the wound to be healed. So if you think about avoiding or getting away from abusive or terrible church leaders who are supposed to be there for the benefit and enrichment of the church, for goodness sake, you get rid of them. That's like getting rid of dead flesh off of your wounds, and then you can start to heal. And that healing process will take as long as it takes. It might be a short process, it might be a long process, but you need to get the dead flesh off of the wound, and then you can heal. And if I could give a word of advice, be patient with yourself as you heal. If you've watched this far, thank you for your time. I really appreciate that. If you enjoyed this video, I ask that you would give that like button some love. If you have any comments or criticisms, I'd love to hear your comments, either one really. And if you want to see any more of my goofy mug, feel free to subscribe for future videos. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a very good day.